It's going.
Okay.
Okay, now it's broadcasting.
All right. Okay, our first question is, suppose that a consumer purchases just two goods, X and Y. The slope of the budget line would indicate, one, an opportunity cost of good Y in terms of good X given up for each unit of Y. That's choice one. The second one is opportunity cost of good X in terms of good Y given up for each unit of Y. And then the third and fourth is maximum quantity of good Y that the consumer could buy with a given budget, or the maximum quantity of good X that the consumer could buy with a given budget.
Is this the real quiz or the practice quiz questions right here?
I believe these are the actual ones because they have.
Yeah, I think
They are. I just opened up the Connect quiz, and that's question number 1 on the actual quiz.
Oh, let me open it up too. Then hold on.
Figured I might as well follow along if that's what we're going to be doing together.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I see now.
Oh,
You want to like share your screen with us or something, Dwayne? So I guess I could see it on my own, but
Yeah. My problem is I love to. Just I don't know how to get that screen to show up with the actual. Yeah, because I don't know if we get only one access of it, but I did get one access of it, and then I thought I saved it to a Word document, but it is actually a PDF file. I found
Here,
it.
I can pop it up on mine.
there you go.
oh
Jacob's
cool,
got a-
cool, right on.
So just click on Jacob. Click on his little head down there. It'll show it for us.
Can everyone
All
see that?
Oh, that's cool.
So when you screen share, you can actually select which window you want to share. So you can share the entire screen or just one particular window.
Okay.
So for this question, I put A. I understand X and Y. I just don't understand the wording of just how they put it. But my best guess was A.
So the first one, the opportunity cost of Y in terms of good X, that one? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Two goods, two goods. Excellent.
I think it's either A or B, right? It's got to be one of those
Yeah.
ones. So.
It
Right,
is
because
either A or B.
C and D are the intercepts, and it's asking about the slope.
Okay.
So the intercepts would be the maximum quantity of either good, but the slope, as you go from left to right, we're going to be dropping down 1 unit.
Okay. So what do you think? A?
Well, Y is the vertical. X is usually given as the horizontal, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to give up a unit of Y to make the slope go down, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So let's go with the number one as you indicated earlier. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I don't have everybody's names memorized, but please forgive me.
So that's your vote?
Yep. So let's go.
Anybody
Let's
have any
go for
reason
that.
for why it would be anything different?
So you just click on submit now, Jacob?
No.
No, that would submit the entire quiz.
Oh,
What
what
I'm
do you,
going to do is right here, hop
Oh,
on
yeah.
over to the next question.
okay.
If you want to see all of the questions, you can scroll down and select a particular one.
Oh, that's cool.
Gotcha.
Oh,
That's
this
cool.
one's easy. This next one's easy.
Okay, you want to take it, Colton?
uh,
Yeah, go ahead.
let's see. So you got a budget of $12, and well, I remember the practice one's easy. This one might be different. Let me see. Assume that a consumer has a given budget of $12, can only buy apples or bananas. Price of an apple is $1.50 and a banana is $75. So if the consumer wants to spend all her budget on just apples or just bananas, how many apples or bananas maximum would she be able to buy? So to get that, for apples, you divide 12 by 150 to see how many apples you'd get. So,
I did that one. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
yeah,
Yes.
Awesome. So for me, it was 8 and 16.
Yeah, I had 8 and 16. I did
So
the math.
8 apples and 16 bananas should be the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got that.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Same thing here.
All right, good. Okay, one major part of the opportunity cost of one's decision to go to college after high school graduation is the additional income that one can get if one had a college degree. Next, that one, right?
I think it's the bottom one.
Right.
Yes,
They're giving up something
The full-
instead of going to college, or by going to college. And what they'd be giving
Yeah.
up is the full-time job that they could have gotten, but instead they're going to the college.
correct.
I agree.
Yep.
Everybody agree?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right, 4. Genovita, we want to read, pronounce your name wrong, sorry. Would you like to read number 4 for us?
Who, me?
Who is that?
I can
Jen?
read it. I'll read it.
Okay,
Which of
go
the
ahead.
following illustrates a macroeconomic question? Number 4. Okay. Should the salaries of financial executive, okay, I'll just read my answer. I put B, are increasing wages demand by workers contributing to price inflation. That was my answer.
I agree.
The
Yeah.
second are increasing. Yeah.
The others
These-
seem more specific.
Same.
That one seems more general.
Macro question, yeah, because it's got to deal with the whole, not the individual.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. All right, I'll read number 5. The statement in the newspaper that consumer prices rose last month by 1%, and if this trend continues, the annual rate of inflation will be 12% for the year, is an example of.
See.
What you think?
It would be 12%, and it'd be normative.
Yeah, that's what I put. I put A, normative.
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
And then refresh my memory what the difference between normative and positive is.
So positive is factual based, and the normative is
Continued,
what should be
Yeah.
the case.
So positive is what is, normative is what should be.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, who'd like to read the next one?
I can read it.
Okay, go ahead.
So the production possibilities curve is a graph of let me see.
What would be the last one, wouldn't it? The maximum amount of capital and labor that the economy can employ?
I put C as in cat for my answer on that.
You selected here? Tell me why.
Well, let me check your car. Or not.
What'd you say, Jacob?
Why C?
Oh, why C?
Mhm.
Because isn't the production possibility curve, isn't it? That little curve on the graph, and then those are all the maximum possibilities that can be placed on that graph. That was my understanding of it.
That would be
But
the tangent point of the top of that curve, right?
What do you mean?
Okay, when I saw the graph, the point of its maximum capabilities of being able to produce had a tangent point of a line horizontal to which the graph would intercept at that line. Is that what we're talking about here?
I think so. Hold on. I think it's either A or D, personally.
It's A. I'm pretty
Is it
sure.
A?
It's A.
Why is that?
Because it's like the maximum amount of that you can produce of 2 resources or something like that, and in A it shows labor and capital resources. So, and it's the maximum of those 2 amounts, if I remember correctly.
Because it does show what is possible along that curve. Is that correct?
Right. Because it's the economy, the ability to put the two together to make one whole of its abilities. So if you have labor and you have resources, and the two are combined to make that happen.
Okay.
All right. Does that sound okay?
It does.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting. What you have there, your screenshot, the order of questions are different than the one I got 2 days ago. So
most likely
it's-
they're randomized as we go through for each person.
Right. And so as I entered in this question and answer again, it's like they usually did in the last semester, they'll move those questions around or the responses. So we have to be careful to call out what they really are by what you're doing. And Jacob, thank you for showing a screenshot because that highlighted that they do that.
Perfect.
Hey, did Houston text you guys?
I got a text from a 916 number.
I don't think he's in our group anymore, but it looks like he thinks he is, maybe. I don't know.
What happened is our instructor decided she was going to rearrange the groups. And apparently, in her decision to do that, that's how we got where we are today.
Yeah, Houston's not in our group, so okay.
You want to go ahead and shoot him a text back and say the groups were rearranged? Take a look at the spreadsheet.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll text him. You guys can go ahead with the question.
All right.
All right.
So number 7, if a nation produces more consumer goods and less capital goods, then the nation will have more consumption now but less consumption later, less consumption now but more consumption later, more consumption now with no effect on consumption later, less consumption later with no effect on consumption now. What you think?
Well, I remember that the lesson was taught, well, in reading the material, I understood that if you overproduce, for example, the war machine, you don't have the capital left to be able to produce what you need for the higher assets, the things that the people need.
Mm-hmm.
So most consumption now, but less consumption later doesn't make sense. Less consumption now, but more consumption later. I don't know if that's going to work either. More consumption now with no effect on consumption later, it has to have an effect.
Right.
Less consumption later with no effect on consumption now, that doesn't make sense either. So I'm not sure which way to go with that one.
I think I would rule out C and D. What do you think of Giovanna, sorry.
Yeah, actually, like what I remember, it's like if a nation produces more good consumer goods than capital, it's less of all goods maybe produced in the future. That's what I remember.
So by doing so, they would actually increase their consumption now since they're focusing on that, but then later they don't have that capacity. So they would be a decrease later. I'd say it's A on this.
That's what I thought. I guess
Yeah,
it was
that's me too.
That
Because they're
makes
focusing
sense.
on the consumer goods to start out, and because they're not focusing on the capital, they don't have the opportunity to make more consumer down the road, so they're going to have less consumption later.
Yeah, you used out the bank. You dried it up.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to read 8 then, okay?
Sure.
All right, now just remind y'all, make sure we don't just call A, B, and C because the order of these things looks good on your Jacob's screen, but that will not necessarily match with what's on someone else's.
Yeah.
All right, so number 8, a nation can produce 2 products, tanks and autos, and here's that war idea. The table below is the nation's production possibilities. Given the production possibilities scheduled above, a combination of 3 tanks and 350 autos, what does this production table tell us? It illustrates the trade-off between tanks and autos? Or is it a table but entails some unemployment or inefficient use of society's resources? Well, we're not discussing, in this one, I would say that one, because unemployment and inefficient use of society's resources is not what it's talking about. It's ratios, right? And
Well,
actually,
they're not producing enough autos, so that would mean some people are unemployed, right?
yeah, because it says here on the production possibilities amounts that if you do 3 tanks, you can possibly make 650
Yeah.
autos. If we're only making 350 of them, that means 300 of them are not being produced, which means
Oh.
we're not being as efficient as we could be.
Yeah.
So
So-
650 would be the equivalent of 1,000 if you're saying what I think you're saying. So it's costing us, for every tank, it's costing us, that'd be 50 autos.
I'm not sure what you're doing for your math there.
Okay.
Oh no, I think he's doing 1,000 minus 650, which equals 350. I think that's what he's talking about on that
Right.
trade-off.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, I was kind of confused at first when you started saying that, but then I did the math. It is a 350 difference. I kind of don't like the wording of this question. That personally.
I think it's the one you have clicked, though. I think that's the answer, looking at the other options, personally.
I think it's this because if we make 3 tanks, we could also make 650 autos, but we're
Right.
not making 650 autos. We're only making 350, which is 300 less than we could, which means we are in fact being inefficient
Yep.
in our
We're not
use.
using all the resources we could be using.
Yeah, we could be making more, and if we're not making more, then either somebody's unemployed or we're being inefficient there. Does that make sense?
It
I
makes,
agree.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
I just reread the question and it says it's talking about the combination of tanks and autos. Just
Yeah.
I agree. So I was just looking at it weird, but it's just I don't like the wording of the question.
So you guys don't like illustrates the trade-off between tanks and autos?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I differ on the thought is I look at it, if I go from 1,000 down to 950, that costs 50 automobiles not being produced for one tank. If I take it to scale from 950 down to 850, we've lost 100 autos.
Right.
And that from there to get the 2. So yeah, but it's an efficient use of society's resources. I agree with you. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
No, I see where you're going there with the step way to go, and that makes sense because each new tank that you're making an increasingly smaller amount of autos.
But they're not proportional. That's the
Right.
problem.
If we're only doing 350 autos, we could also do 4 tanks.
Yeah.
But we're not. So.
Yeah.
All right. We good to move forward on that one then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel good about it now.
Yeah, that works sense. Okay. Colton, your turn, please.
All right. The law of increasing opportunity cost states that cost of production increase for one good but decrease for another. Increases in wages and other resources costs is what the increasing opportunity costs refer to. Increases in the production of one good require larger and larger sacrifices of the other. Or increases in the production of one good make the production of that good easier.
C is my guess.
See?
Yeah.
Tell us why.
Oh, tell us why?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of like the last example with the tanks and the automobiles. So just the same proportions. In order to make one more tank, you lost 100 autos, and then that increased to make 2 tanks. It went from 100 autos to 200, and then in order to make 3, it went from 200 to 350 autos. So the more and more you produce, the less autos that you have to sacrifice to produce the next good.
That sounds reasonable to me.
So producing more will cost more, yeah. Larger sacrifices. Yeah, I agree.
That's good. Let's go with that. Giovanna, would you please read next?
Yeah. Just give me a second. Which of the following is not a factor of production?
Entrepreneur, isn't it?
Oh
Yeah.
no, it's A.
Entrepreneur is. Yes.
Money.
It's money.
That's true. I don't remember now.
Okay.
He was talking about the different types of goods. There are labor goods, capital goods, and then the entrepreneur mindset.
Okay, I'm going to flip to that reminder.
All right.
That's what I remember from the reading.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's in the reading. Money is just an,
entrepreneurship, labor, capital, and land.
Okay, awesome.
And
So the entrepreneur is not the issue, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I can read it. The economizing problem is essentially one of deciding how to make the best use of. I put D, limited resources to satisfy unlimited economic wants.
Amen.
I agree.
Yep.
Agree.
Agreed.
There are way too many wants.
Yeah, I want a boat.
I want. All right. Jacob, your turn.
So which of the following is the best synonym for marginal in economics? I would say additional.
I
Yep.
agree.
Yep.
Because the margin is the excess amount from one more unit of production or cost.
Okay. That's synonym. Okay, that's perfect. I guess that's my turn. Okay, the opportunity cost of doing or getting something is best and fully defined as, I would think it was A, the difference between the marginal cost and the benefit of doing something, right?
I was thinking C for that. Is that what I put?
Yeah, that's what I put was C.
Because you're
I
giving
kind of
up
see
something,
where you're
right?
coming from, but I think C is the better answer.
Because it says given up here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Opportunity cost is giving something else up, you know?
You have to
Right.
sacrifice.
Yeah, I agree.
Opportunity cost, we're giving up something in order to get something. So they're the best alternative that we're giving up in order to get something.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, you guys hold just a second. Let me just read that real quick through.
Sure.
yeah. Yeah, take your time.
Alternatives to giving up in order to get something. Okay, let me propose a little thought on that one. You wanted
Alright.
to choose. You wanted to choose which one?
C.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
Great.
I just had to read through that again. It's like what?
Then
No,
I
you're
agree with your thought.
fine.
Okay, 14. Okay, Colton, your turn.
All right. Let's see. The ceteris paribus assumption is employed in economic analysis in order to. Let's see, I don't really remember this one too well.
That's the one that's to simplify the real world.
I believe that that is the same as the everything else being equal.
Yeah, I think
So
you
simplify.
simplify too.
Yeah. Hold everything constant except for the variables that you want to explicitly test. And
Okay.
because there's an infinite amount of variables in every situation, by doing that, we are simplifying our complex world.
Okay.
Does that make
I
sense?
agree.
I agree.
All right, number 15.
I'll read it. Which of the following is a fallacy and a fallacy of composition? 15C. My answer was C as in cat. What is true for part is necessarily also true for the whole.
Meaning that because A happens, B will also happen? Or
Oh, is that what you're thinking is D?
no, that one
No,
is,
I agree with C.
yeah. Is C saying that because A happened in one instance, it's also going to happen in another instance?
Yeah.
Is that what C is saying?
I think that's the way it could be interpreted, yeah.
Then yeah, I agree with that.
All right. What do you think, Dwayne?
Yeah, I think that's the first one I was thinking of, but I wasn't sure. I was looking at that.
Okay.
I was wrong. Okay, let's see. That's Jacob's or Giovanna's. Your turn.
My turn, okay.
Yeah.
So a society can consume a combination of goods outside its production possibilities if there is. Let me see.
A change in consumer taste, right?
I think it's B, personally.
Yeah, D as in dog for me.
Change in prices?
Wait, dog. Yeah.
So we got 2 votes for C, 1 vote for D. Giovanna, where do you stand?
Huh.
Um, 2 votes for C? No. 2 votes for what?
I
Two
think it's
votes
B.
for C, 1 vote for D.
Yeah. I can try to explain my case.
Please.
I guess we can go with pizza. So if pizza was $5 to buy a large pizza, and I don't know, this might work.
Both of
Okay.
them works.
So if the price changes from $5 to $3 for a pizza, I think that there would be expansion of a lot more consumers. And then it says society can consume a combination of good outside the production possibility. If the price lowered, then more people would consume it, and it would just grow the economy. That's
Okay.
my guess.
But
Can I throw a curve in here for the group?
Yeah.
Okay, let me interject a thought, if I may, Jacob, just for a sec.
Sure. Then I've got one after you.
All right. Okay, here's one of these questions that has broached several international issues. China obviously can outproduce us, and their costs are significantly lower than our capabilities in the United States. When we have a society in the United States that consumes goods outside its production possibilities, because we no longer have the manufacturing now that we had years ago, doesn't that make sense that international specialization and trade is what makes that bridge possible?
Yes. Because we've already reached our maximum production, so we're going to have to go to another place to get that higher amount of production. And that would
Right.
be somewhere else, foreign trade or something like that.
Yeah, and my thought kind of bounces right off of yours there, Dwayne. We're talking about the production possibilities, and a change in prices would change the demand curve. I don't think that it would change the amount that we're capable of producing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'd still
right.
make the same amount in the end.
So I think we'd be talking about something slightly different if we're talking about the change in prices. I mean, more demand than production. So I agree with it being the international specialization in trade because that would increase our capabilities to produce more.
me too.
I think that sounds good.
Okay.
Does that sound fair to everybody?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next?
Thank goodness for taking us as a group.
Yeah. Okay. So it's your turn, Jacob, or mine?
I'll go for it. The market demand schedule or curve for a product shows the relationship between how much of the product buyers are willing and able to buy and the market demand schedule.
Huh.
Market demand curve.
This is the intersection you were telling us about at the very beginning.
Mhm.
Remember? When the market of one curve intersects the other.
Yeah. I think this one is where we start talking about the price versus how much they're willing to buy.
Yes.
Yeah, A was my answer.
Yeah, I think this one is the one that you were mentioning from the last one there, Ed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes better sense for this explanation.
What do you think, Giovanna?
Agreed.
All right.
Okay. Okay, we got 18 now. Let's see. Oh, this is going to be fun. Here's that intersection thing with with milk now. Let's see. Refer to the above diagram for the milk chart or milk market. In this market, the equilibrium price is, and the equilibrium quantity is,
$1.50, right?
$1.50 per gallon
And 28.
and 28. So that would be the top. Well, I would call it A, but whatever it is on your chart. Yeah, same as.
Yep.
Because it's where these two intersect.
Yep.
And we just follow it over to the price, follow it down to the quantity.
Correct.
Yep.
That was an easy one, guys.
And this
Yeah,
Crazy.
it
make sure you
was.
put your dollar sign on the right one because this is the same numbers but switched.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny. I didn't see that. That's
You know,
Pretty cool.
150 million gallons is quite a lot.
Gotta watch it. Your
Would've
X and
fooled
Y
me.
values.
I drink a lot of milk, but not that
That's
much.
sneaky.
Right. Okay, Colton, your turn, please.
Okay. All of the following are assumed to be constant when the supply curve for a product is drawn, except the
I put D.
I put
Tell us
A.
why.
Why?
Yeah.
Because, okay, so the supply curve is drawn, but like the price is the same for the product, the technology is gonna be the same, and the number of people producing maybe the same. I think like the thing, I think it's like the price of inputs used to make the product is the thing that changed the most, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so this is the supply curve, so it's not the demand curve, and it's not the production possibilities curve. So those other ones are out the window.
All right.
I know that A and B, they continue to be the same, but I don't know about the C and D.
My answer was A, because
Why
if you
not?
look at a supply curve, there's all sorts of prices that you can put on the input. Like for example, you can pay $2.50 for milk, and then if you give or take, you can pay $2 for milk, and that goes down to $1.50. You can pay $1.50 for a gallon of milk. So the price of a product is going to change. So that's why my pick was the price of the product is
Are
what's
you,
not
are you referring to
constant.
this here, Ed?
Yeah, I'm talking about that. Yeah,
Okay, but here
about
we
how
have.
that line it changes.
This one?
Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, but I could be wrong, but that's my assumption.
Okay.
Okay, what if we look at it this way? All the following is assumed to be a constant. Now that's key. When a supply curve, okay, so every line that's drawn to it is a straight line, right? For the two curves,
uh-huh.
okay? And it's for a product, is drawn. Except, and that's the exception, the price of the product, the state of the technology. Okay, so the only one we have here is what? What is it that we actually involve in this curve? Jacob, what do we have?
Price and quantity.
Price and quantity, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is the exception. We're trying to rule one out.
So actually, so it's the price then, because the curve does involve the technology, number of producers, and the price of inputs. Is it
Okay?
right?
Gotcha.
No,
So-
because your price is constant. You got $1, $1.50, $2. Each as it scales up, right? That's
Well,
on
the price isn't constant because the price changes.
Right. So on the supply curve, we're assuming that what it costs us to make the product stays the same. The number of producers in the industry stay the same. The state of our technology stays the same. What's
Only we got-
fluctuating on this curve is how much
Price.
we're charging for it.
Yeah, it's the
that's-
price of the product.
Okay. That sounds good to me.
Okay, I
Thanks.
think that. All right, let's move on to number 20. Okay.
All right. Last one.
Yoo-hoo! All right.
Which of the following is an example of a price ceiling? Limits on interest rates charged by credit card companies, subsidies for apartment rent in major cities, minimum wage laws for unskilled workers, or price supports for agricultural products. So price ceiling means anything above that is no good.
Can't happen, right?
I would vote
I would
for
think-
this guy.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's my guess would be.
Because it establishes kind of like a baseline. Anything beyond that standard is subsidized.
Because the minimum wage, that's where it begins. That's not the ceiling.
Yeah, that'd be a price floor.
Yeah, yep. It's the floor. That's the floor.
Okay.
I agree with the letter B.
Okay.
Now, just a quick question: why would A not also work?
See, I actually was thinking about that, but I don't know. B is the better answer in my opinion, because you're right. Like, how come a bank can't charge interest rate on like 20%? But I don't know. I just think that B is the better answer. But I do see where you're coming from. How E is easily a possibility.
Yeah, I feel like A works too. Like that's what I would have put first if you guys had brought up B.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from, though. But if you like
Yeah.
Google, I Googled that question yesterday, and that was actually a question that. And then if you Google price ceiling, no, that's where I did. I Googled price ceiling, and that was actually an example of subsidy on rent in major cities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with Google.
Yeah, Dr. Google knows all, right?
Yep.
Sometimes.
Except for when you're
Sometimes.
sick, it just tells you that you have cancer.
Yeah. Everything on the internet is true.
Right.
It's
Is there anything
gotta be,
to
right?
do on this broadcast? Do we need to address anything else?
Yeah, we do. We have another thing that the instructor, Sister Gardner, gave us to do, and we need to talk about that. It's due. Uh,
The mind map.
My map. That's right.
Oh
I think
shoot.
I was just losing for a moment.
Yeah,
We
and I
have,
think that one is due on the 2nd. That's Monday.
yeah,
Yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah.
Crap.
We're going to have to. We have to cover that. Now, here's another proposition I'd like to make to the group here: is we should perhaps meet on Saturday if possible, if not sooner and later, because we're going to need to figure out how we're going to put that map, my map together.
Mhm.
And we got to pick somebody in our group who has the ability to work with the technology to present for the group. If I understand correctly. If I understand correctly, I'm saying it with an if.
Yeah, sounds like
Uh,
we have to all contribute to that and then submit it.
right. So who here has the most ability to understand how to make a professional presentation? Because I don't. I could draw it on paper, but I don't have it to do it on digital.
Hey, don't submit yet. I submit mine and we got you wrong. So you guys can fix it if you want.
I think I'm not the best with technology, but I think
Jake,
one thing that we all need to remember is eventually we're probably all going to have to spearhead that.
Yes, we would.
Jake,
That's the reason why we need to bring together. I think that's a great idea. So what day can we do it on and not mess up all the other schedules we got to keep with?
I've got Saturday evening available that I could meet.
Okay, so do I. Anybody else?
I'll be working till 5, so I can't do it earlier.
Sure, what is the question?
When can we meet to get together to talk about and do our mind map activity?
I can do
what is it do again?
whatever.
Monday.
Monday at 8 a.m., so we probably got to do it either tomorrow or Monday or Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have time tomorrow too, as well.
Yeah.
For me, it's better tomorrow too.
Okay. Shall we set out the time to be the same time we set it
That
up
could be
today?
tomorrow.
Okay, Colt can.
What's
Anybody
that?
else? So we have 4 of us that can meet tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Who's
I
left?
can meet tomorrow, yeah.
You can. Okay, I was just waiting for you.
Me too.
Okay. So what about 6 o'clock? Would that work better for everybody else?
I work until
Uh,
7.
Oh, you
7?
work till 7.
All right. How about what time would you be home?
I can be home at 7:15.
7:15.
7:15. All right. To give you a chance to grab a bite and time to start your computer, would 7:30 or 7:45 be better for you?
45.
30. Oh, 45?
I've got a couple of
Yeah,
daughters to put to
45,
bed.
30. After 7's good.
Okay, after 7.
Yeah.
So I just got a couple of daughters to put to bed, and 7:30 is bedtime. So
Oh,
if
so
7:45
7:45.
works, then that'd be wonderful.
I can do that. That's fine with me.
Me too.
Okay, so we're agreed on what time?
Same time tomorrow night.
7:45 tomorrow night.
7:45.
Okay,
Excellent.
works.
Who wants to
Hey,
talk
on the quiz, if you guys want to change number 6, is actually letter C, not A.
Number 20 is A, for the one you're on right now.
So it was A.
Yeah, 20 is A.
And
And
20 is A too?
6
Wow.
is the maximum combination of products that can be produced.
Yeah.
That was my original answer.
Okay, hold your horse
Oh.
right there.
Wait,
So
yeah,
I-
wait. How come you picked C? Like, did you Google it or what did you do?
Because I submit mine, it shows which one we got it wrong.
Yeah, C was my original answer, and I just went with what you guys said.
So it is the maximum combinations, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Did I put it wrong there?
Hey, did you say that 20 was supposed to be A though, the credit thing?
Yeah.
I was wondering why why it would be B instead of A, but I didn't submit or I think we were still kind of talking about that.
Yeah, 20 is A.
Yeah, 20 is A.
Okay.
Well, here's the reason why it has to be a limit on the ceiling, because if they were to continue to be payday loan outfits out there, they could just rake the people to death if they wanted to. If there's no limit to it, then we'll be back to the 1930s.
Gotcha. 70% interest, 120% interest.
Okay, so who's setting up the meeting tomorrow?
Okay, I'll try to do it tomorrow with Colton's help. I'll get it up. I just had so many things going. I had my I was listening to Sister Gardner, and I was trying to do this at the same time. It was just too much. The computer just egged on me right there.
Ah, we missed one still.
Which one did we miss?
Giovanna?
Mm,
Oh, wow. Dude, I don't agree with 5.
5.
I don't agree with that. I think it is
Oh, I
A.
got it 5 right.
you rebel, you're going against the group.
But I
job.
put a positive. I think, I don't know.
That's
think?
alright. So definitely brush up on the difference between normative and positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to need to.
I want to reread that section. All
Cool.
right.
Yeah.
Should I
All right.
broadcast
Awesome.
now?
All right.
Well,
See you guys tomorrow.
We'll plan
Okay.
on it. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.